Hi, and welcome to Make Yourself Comfortable's My Conversations. And today we're going to be talking about what we often talk about in the month of February, which is love, dating, understanding what does it look like today, because we often do talk about what did it look like, what does it look like now, what's happening in the dating scene. So that's what we're going to be discussing today. Maybe if you could please introduce yourself.
Thank you so much for inviting me, Komal. It's so nice to meet you. I'm Dr. Megha Pushkarna. I'm a counseling psychologist. I've been a practicing psychologist for over 21 years now. I have been in the field of counseling, of course, moved into clinical. That's where we ideally all start, then slowly moved into corporate, schools, colleges, and now an independent psychologist, and of course, an associate professor in my field. So, seen variations of how love grows and develops in the age groups, relevant age groups, and it's nice. So I'm glad to be here with you to discuss quintessentially love.
Absolutely. Likewise. And, I think the first question is, what is love? Like, how do we understand it from a bird's eye perspective? That when we think about the concept, what exactly is it?
So, in my understanding, Komal, I've been in the practicing space of couple therapy for about 4 years, and this question is very tricky because, people come to us with a lot of concerns, and it's a very mixed love space where they love each other, but they cannot stand each other, they cannot move apart, but they cannot, so love, I think, is a complicated space. It's an emotion, obviously, which involves a lot of commitment. It is not something which is stagnant irrespective of which what age and which lifespan you are in life. Love is complicated. It's an everyday work in progress. It's like health, I believe. You have to work on it every day.
Yeah,
So an emotion and something which is literally sitting on concepts like respect and commitment, respect and commitment. So that's my understanding of what love would look like, and it's an everyday work.
absolutely. Um, I loved how you framed it like it's like health, it has to be consistently worked upon. We do see a lot of, especially these days when we see on Instagram, people my age, people in their 20s, people in their late teens, we do reminiscence and talk quite a lot about movies from 2000s, 2010s, and how young love was shown back then with, Saif Ali Khan and Shah Rukh Khan, Imran Khan, all of these people.
True.
But a lot of times we also do realize that it's like movie love, So
Yeah.
how do we understand, especially those who have not experienced much of it, much of the world also, not just much of love, but also the world, to sort of understand what is the internet telling us about love and what it really feels like in real life?
So, Komal, cinematography or media would always gloss it up. It always shows you the good sides, subtle negative sides like possessiveness, anger, jealousy, love-hate relationship, chase, and, all of that. So those are probably peripheral spaces which also add to the dramatization. But in my opinion, when we're looking at cinema, what it's trying to tell you is something which irrespective of the gender. And of course, we live in a world where we naturally give more opinion to every kind of love, starting from self-love. Frankly speaking, I think 2020 onwards, you started doing a lot of self-love space as well, to to homosexuality, to bisexuality. There's a lot of variations. Call it Netflix, call it anything. I think maybe people are opening to the idea that love is not quintessentially heterosexuality. So when we're looking at the drama or the cinematography of love, Komal, in my opinion, there is a lot of discussion around expression, how free you feel,
Yeah.
and how safe you feel in love.
Mm.
So I think that kind of security and that kind of expression that you would have where, you are not holding yourself back is what cinema probably, cashes on. And that is what, which also feels larger than life, but also feels like, maybe it could be your and my happily ever after one day. So maybe we get drawn to these characters and stories because we also want to resonate with that after. And love, companionship probably looks like, that place where we'll have a happily ever after with
Absolutely.
the person, irrespective of the gender.
Absolutely. Very rightly said the way it impacts our wants, that this is something I desire. But I do see a lot of times it being at the two extremes, increasing at the two extremes. One where everybody wants to be in a relationship, even if, they might not like the person enough or see a future with them. But as of now, as
Mm,
of today, they want to be in a relationship. They have that urge
mm,
that, oh yeah, let me date. Oh yeah, even I have a partner, even I have a boyfriend, even I have a girlfriend, that excitement that comes up with it. And the second half is where people just want to, youngsters these days just want to be single. They're like, it's
yeah.
not because I don't want to be with somebody, but, I'm just scared they'll hurt me or I'll get cheated on. A lot of these fears and just the idea that no, unless it is ideal, I don't want it. So,
Mm.
how do we manage these extremes and what would you suggest to put yourself out there in a way which is little
Mm.
relaxed and little more balanced between these two?
Komal, what has happened is, at least in the last 10, 15 years with technology, we've got it all. There is less patience for even a 2-minute Maggie. We actually did wait for a 2-minute Maggie, knowing 2-minute me, we don't make a Maggie. Our apps, the technology out there is increasing the dopamine rush and reducing that patience which comes with time. I'm not saying youngsters are impatient. The age also, does not help with patience. Really
Absolutely.
so much of dopamine rush from the technology, and thirdly the avenues. Sometime back, I'm not saying people had less avenues, no. And it's not that people, who are in their 30s and 40s have more patience. I definitely don't agree with that. Today, people want it all because everything in your and my world has made it possible to have it all. So that's why the rush and the pace to get it quick. If it's not this, let me move on to the next thing. Idealism, perfection were just words in dictionary, Komal. I don't think it is something out there. It is something that you need to also resonate with yourself. People at times, I'm sure you would have seen that in couple space. I see that a lot. An abusive relationship, people don't walk out of it because there is a very strong, I'm just resonating with what you said. There are needs that are getting satisfied over the expense of an abuse or a difficult time, or cutting off from the inner circle like your family of origin. Komal, what happens is sometimes people need that perfection, and that could come from any space. No one is here to judge and be on a high moral ground. Answering to your question, sometimes people are in a rush because there are so many things they want to do at the same time. The idea of idealism, the idea of perfection, I don't even know if it really exists in reality. It is something very, very internal. That something will take, I believe, a little bit of wisdom and a little more patience. It comes with age. So, you want both sides. Maybe you'll get everything, but probably not at the same time. You want a partner who's perfect to look at, perfect profile, does financial. I mean, I'm not saying you cannot get it. I'm just saying the patience to hold on to something, then jumping, was probably not there when our technology wasn't, as advanced. I'll give you an example. Like, we often see people, not youngsters only, on dating apps. And there is so much of let me move to the next best, profile. It just basically tells you that there is so much more. Let me not waste time here.
Yeah.
But I don't think more avenues and more opportunities are making people calmer. It's making them restless. They're looking for something, and I don't know how many of them are actually getting what they want to
Mm.
have in life.
Absolutely. In fact, I was just, when you said that it's all about moving on to the next thing, next better thing, but not knowing, and like you said, that we're not finding what we're looking at because we feel it's the next
Yeah.
one, it's the next one. But I also feel that there's a lack of
Mhm.
understanding of what is the best. When I say, oh, I want the best, I want the ideal, but I have no definition for it where I'm saying,
Mhm.
oh, this is the ideal thing for me. And even if I do have a definition, it's a long list of things that might not be suffice. Even if I get that, and still be like, oh,
Mm.
one more thing. And since you already mentioned dating apps, how do you feel that these apps have contributed, especially to the evolution of dating in India? Because dating in India as a concept, even a couple of years back, not many parents were accepting, bhag ke
Yes.
shadi karna, and all of this was very, oh, aapne bhag ke shadi, it was
Mm.
like that, and now we see them as, oh,
Yeah.
what a lovely love story and all of this. But now again, people are more open to dating as well. But especially dating apps in India, it's like right swipe, left swipe, the entire hookup culture, and so many
Mm.
other terms that have come up now, just with the, what the dating scene looks like. It's not just, oh, I'm in a relationship anymore. Before we used to see that Facebook has those three, four options, single, married,
Yes.
it's complicated. But now I feel like if Facebook were to add that option, there would be like at least 20 things then they can list, and
True.
people will be selecting
True.
multiple at one point. So, how do you feel, one, that has changed the dating evolution in India? And second, how people have started perceiving love and dating overall?
So, I think our constant need to ape the West is making us, drool over dating apps. Komal, we are, conservative. Asians basically are conservative society. We still have joint family system. We do have still have collectivism. We still have children seeking permission or adult children staying with parents and the like. But the need to be, to feel like you have achieved something in life is this whole space of, aping Western culture. That's something I feel is becoming majorly dichotomous, where people want to be there but cannot leave their roots. And that frustration comes in, I want to step up, but I don't even know if it's a step up. And there's also a lot of social comparison, where all of us tend to compare our lives with what is projected by people out there. And it becomes like a disappointment where probably you're not doing the best thing the others are doing. So there's a lot of frustration that comes in of fear of missing out, and what am I not doing right, and so social validation, comparison, and
Yeah.
hi.
Yes, I
Hi,
lost you for
Komal, can
a
you
second.
see me?
Yes,
Sorry, your screen froze.
yeah,
Sorry. Yeah.
no
So
worries.
social comparison and trying to ape the West is also becoming a huge concern and is adding to that frustration. So I think somewhere Indians are still very rooted in their tradition. We are a conservative society, but we still want to, ace it up and look different and look evolved and not look, we want to look modern, but we still prefer the traditional, roots and roles. So I think there's a bit of a confusion there. And that may lead a lot of, so you're on dating apps, but you would want to hide it. You may want to seek multiple partners, but you don't want to tell your parents about it, and you want to talk about it on Instagram, but you don't want to add your parents there or closer relatives there or cousins there because it kind of becomes a family shame. So I think that's this confusion. It's probably it's like a fear of missing out. If I'm single and I'm not on a dating app, and my friends are saying, "Oh, have you tried it?" or "Why haven't you tried it?" I feel like what am I missing if I'm not doing it?
Absolutely. And I feel the confusion extends beyond just how to manage this, but also the, you know, the parts within managing it when it comes to the relationship, such as, like we spoke, there are so many terms now, situationships, talking
Hmm.
stages, casual, and just a
Hmm.
lot of these terms like benching and I mean, I being of the generation, even I don't understand half of these things because everybody's definitions are so different. When they say situationship, some of them have been talking for a couple of months, some of them have been speaking just for like 5 days. So it's very confusing in itself.
Wow.
So,
Yeah.
how do you suggest to deal with these confusions, this and the one that you spoke about?
It is complicated, and definitely the fear of missing out and social comparison, acts
Mhm.
as a deterrent in actually realizing what you want, rather what you don't want, because you feel you're missing out. Especially youngsters are thriving on validation. Maybe by the time you're in your 30s and 40, I'm hoping Komal wisdom kicks in. I'm in my 40s, so I can clearly say this wisdom
Yeah.
kicks in, and you know that you don't need that anymore. But a younger age group is driven by the mass consumption, a lot of consumption, the need to put your life out there, which is literally not the life you and I would lead every day. But there's a lot of, I don't even know whom you're seeking validation from. So it is confusing, definitely, and it can be can be a very altered way of looking at reality. Everybody may not get everything because we may not be what everybody thinks is perfect. So I think this whole space of uh, upsetting yourself or driving yourself to the point of I need perfection can be changed. Maybe that can be discussed a little later. That why do you need a perfect life? You look back at your parents' marriages, you look back at if your Indian setups, for so to say, that you see people in families and you see that there has been a everyday progress, Komal. There's been adjustment. There have been unhappy days as well. There have been sunnier days as well. So life is probably a balancing act and an everyday intentional way to make relationships work. Marriage, of course, is very, very complicated space, but so every relationship, even the sibling system, friends, relationship with your boss, colleagues, it's an everyday work in progress. So yeah, so is the relationship space where you are romantically involved with someone. It involves intimacy, physical, emotional. It involves financial dependency. Komal, it depends upon a lot about respect for each other. And most importantly, the red flag, people at times are too shy to talk about abuse. So there are a lot of factors on which a relationship sits on, not just, to do tick mark listing of what I want and what I'm getting.
Absolutely. The tick mark thing that you said, we do hear a lot of, in circles, especially when it comes to, oh, what's your type? This is a common
Yeah.
question people would ask to their single friends that, oh, what's your type? And then they have this long checklist. Oh, I want blue eyes and 6 feet tall, and this is this, this field he should be in, and this is what he or she should be doing. So we do have long lists, but then also, I feel day by day as we see the relationship statistics and all of these also, there's a lot of, like you said, sunny days, rainy days, all of this is meant to happen for anything that is
Yeah.
complicated. It's a part and parcel of it. But what is it that, infidelity is increasing? Rates of divorces are increasing. Do you feel it is just about the
Definitely.
patience and, oh, I could do better than this? Or is it also a lot of like, oh, I love myself, I've realized I love myself, so why should I deal with this? Is it more awareness that has come in, or what are the multiple factors you feel are playing a part in this, and how do you feel it'll impact the coming generations? Because we see a lot of people, we discuss this, where they want to remain single, or they want to be the ideal partner, and in both these scenarios you're meant to be unhappy with the relationship even if you pursue one. So just to understand this.
So, the area of divorce or the area of separation is like a double-edged sword. Say about 50 years back, Komal, women were not so financially independent and they generally did not have a voice. And the family they came from also did not accept them back once they were married. There were a lot of interrelated factors which were unfortunately stuck on women's zone where women could not walk out of a relationship. Today, times have changed. Girls are getting more educated. There is a financial independence. There is more voice. Laws are protecting. They're more open to talk about things. And yes, laws may be tilting more towards women. But the fact is, today, women have found their voice. And it is somewhere getting normalized that it's okay to divorce if things are not working out. Divorce could be for various reasons. Initially, why it wasn't happening is there was a lot of shame wrapped around divorce, and shame specifically parked in the women's area, where it is the woman's fault if the marriage didn't work out. Today, times have changed. Also because times have changed, that's the good side where it supports women. I think because women or people feel it's an easy way out. People also feel because they're not dependent on each other, like women are not dependent on them, and
Yeah.
then on men, there is no shame as much, that there's a reduction of shame. That has also given women to free themselves up and move out. So, divorce becomes a little complicated space because each divorce story somehow sounds very different. When couples come to us
Yeah.
for therapy and they're discussing how they should work and how, before they seek legal help, even in the fact I have been working in this space for 4 years, I feel anytime a couple comes with distress, their reasons seem very different. So shame is going down, financial independence has gone up, definitely because of longer working hours, more avenues to find yourself. People also feel, why do I get stuck? So it's a very, it's a double-edged sword. So it's good, but it also is a little complicated.
Mm. I hear you. I feel this entire space, and like most spaces in life that are a big chunk of your life, are complicated. And I feel that's how they best are, Otherwise, how would you experience them to the fullest, right? If
Yeah.
I know that I'm going to have dal chawal every single day of my life, after a point, I'll just be like, oh, yeah, this is pretty normal, right? Uh,
Yes.
so, um, Thank you so much for sharing everything. I do have one last question for you. This is something
Please.
we ask all our guests. And what is something that you want to say to everybody who's listening, everybody who's watching, to make themselves
Mm.
comfortable with? What is that one?
Make themselves okay. Oh, what do you make yourself? What a nice question. I think if I had to leave with something, what can people make themselves comfortable with is shame. I think we instill shame at such a young age, and we double it up with guilt and disappointment and anxiety and depression and self-doubt and low self-esteem and horrific things, the critical voice that we tell ourselves, and we rub off that inner child. So maybe let's be comfortable with shameful experiences. It's not that we brought them to ourselves, but we don't have to hide it. Maybe talk about it. Maybe every time it was not your fault, so maybe we can be comfortable with that has been shameful. So yeah, that's the thing that came to my mind.